Welcome to this Friday devotional time. Beginning today, and on each subsequent Friday, I will be doing a different segment taken from the Gospel of John, chapter 4, verses 1 through 42. I'll be dividing it up into 5 separate components, and I trust that you'll find it helpful and informative, and you'll be able to make application to your own life from the content that we will make available to you. Let me read the verses that I'll be covering today and then give us context as we look at this passage together on this Friday. Beginning with verse 1 of chapter 4, the Pharisees heard that Jesus was gaining and baptizing more disciples than John, although it was not Jesus who baptized but his disciples. When the Lord learned of this, he left Judah and went back once more to Galilee. Now he had to go through Samaria. So he came to a town in Samaria called Sychar, near the plot of ground Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired as he was from the journey, sat down by the well. It was about the 6th hour. When a Samaritan woman came to draw water, Jesus said to her, "Will you give me a drink?" His disciples had gone into the town to buy food, so he was alone. The Samaritan woman said to him, "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink?" For Jews do not associate with Samaritans. Well, this is rather a remarkable opportunity in an encounter with Jesus in a very kind of an unlikely place. The context is this. The Samaritans came from part of the tribe of Ephraim and Manasseh many centuries prior to this encounter. And they had interacted with and intermarried with those who were in the area and those who came out of the Babylonian conflict. And anyway, they were persons who did not share all of the beliefs that their Jewish brethren believed in. They certainly were faithful to their beliefs. They believed there was one God. They believed in the Torah. They believed that Moses was a special messenger of the Lord, anointed by him. And they believed that they needed to meet at Mount Gerizim. That is where the Lord wanted the temple to be made. So there were some departures from their Jewish brethren's belief, but there was deep enmity between these two groups. They would not associate socially. They often, when they met each other, if they spoke at all, it was not pleasant, often very harsh in their conversations one with another. They just did not have anything to do with each other. Isn't that amazing? That happened so long ago. And yet we know that oftentimes with those with whom we might be most closely associated with, if there's been conflict or difficulty or decisions made, sometimes it's more difficult to reconcile those relationships than it is with a stranger. Remember now, in the context in which Jesus finds himself at this well, he's a part of the Mid-Eastern culture that is based on an honor-shame worldview. And when you have shamed your family, extended beyond the immediate family, but into your culture, then it carries significant weight, even for generations. So we find Jesus, tired as he was in his journey. His disciples have gone to a town to buy food. He's sitting there at the well, where the well Jacob had given to his son Joseph. And as he's seated there, a Samaritan woman arrives in the afternoon. Now please understand, the reason she arrives in the afternoon, which was very different from the pattern of women coming to a well. They always came in the cool of the day, not in the heat of the day, because they'd be gathering water often 2 jugs that would be on the ends of a pole that they slung over their shoulder. It was a heavy assignment. And why come in the heat of the day? Come when it's cool, so you don't feel all of the sun and its heat at that time. So that's an indicator that something that this woman is not welcomed by even the women of her village. And we will understand that a little more clearly as we go along. So she comes at the wrong time of the day to gather water. And here, as she approaches the well that she's come to customarily, there is a man seated there. And she recognizes him as a Jew. And so what unfolds then? Well, Jesus is the one who speaks to her first. He says, "Please give me a drink." In that brief request, please understand that every social and religious taboo was broken by Jesus' request. He spoke to a woman, which Jewish men do not do unless they are accompanied by either other friends or, if they are married, with their wives, a Samaritan of all people. And as we will subsequently know, she was quite well known for being a multiple divorcee. And furthermore, he also indicated a willingness to drink from a common cup, and that would make him unclean in the eyes of persons like the Pharisees. So, by deliberate action, by this request, Jesus has put the priority of physical need and the personal worth of her over social, sexual, and religious taboos. It is a remarkable question for him to ask. Incredible implications for her and for him. And the woman replies, "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink?" You know, the woman might have silently given the stranger the drink of water without saying anything, or bluntly even said no to an enemy, and that would have been understood. But instead, she returns a kind of a feisty challenge to Jesus. Maybe it was the hint of irony in her retort, a form of humor that requires some real intellectual perception and the capability of subdued rage. She's angry at her life, and she's angry that this man would put her in this position. Or perhaps her response carried an early indicator of her need through the implied question, "What do you really want?" And as we go through this story, later information supports the fact that she would suspect the motives of any man who engaged her in conversation. So what might we take out of this brief interaction between Jesus and this woman at the well? We need to understand that in this opening encounter, Jesus accepts the woman as a person. She's not seen as a problem. She's not seen as some unworthy of his attention, but rather she has worth in his eyes. And that indication of his response to her and her response to him will open the door for some remarkable opportunities. When I read this part of the story, and I've read it multiple times and have studied it, and it says to me, Lon, you need not hide anything from God. Or try, he knows. Why not be transparent with him? Why not speak to the Lord about areas in my life that I really need him to speak to? Whatever it might be. Whether it's small or large. Jesus invites us to engage him that we might be and might discover that we, in His eyes, are persons of worth. Have you had that kind of challenge in your life? Am I a worthy person? Be assured today that our Lord sees you as a person of worth. And as we walk through this story together, perhaps your experience, like mine, has not been in her lifestyle, but nevertheless, we have had needs, and we have had choices that we have made that we regret. And the Lord can help us find healing and wholeness. And He begins by reminding us, in my eyes, truthfully, you are a person of worth. Well, let me encourage you over the next 4 weeks or so to read through these 42 verses, maybe at least once a week, in anticipation of our time together on Friday. Really take in what is being said here to where it becomes very, very familiar to you. It will add to your depth of understanding and the application that the Lord would want for you and for me. May the Lord bless you.